Hey everybody, Scott here from the Jostens service station. Well, as we head into holiday season, let's do a fill-up for the month of November. Coming up in a moment, some great ideas and tips on good page designing, which is probably the most intimidating part of making a yearbook. One of our terrific Jostens cams will give you some great ideas. But first, let's start with some news. Well, again, holiday time coming up, and it's one like no other, right? We've got hybrid, we've got remote learning, we've got masks and distancing and all that sort of thing. But even with all that in the mix, what are some ideas for holiday time? Well, first off, since it's holiday time, take some time if you're actually in school in December to have a holiday party. Let's have some fun during what has been a very stressful year. Yes, of course, follow the distancing rules, wear your mask, all that sort of thing, but everybody bring in some holiday snacks. Take a day off from yearbooking, just totally off, and go have a good time. Now, even if you're remote learning, you can still do this. Everybody meet remotely online because it's very important, especially during this challenging year, that our entire team feels like a team. Reach out to everyone and make them a part. Next, we'll assume you have your school portrait images by now, or you will shortly. If so, let's make creating and finishing your portrait pages a top priority, done by Christmas break. Absolutely make sure you get a name list from the office, check it over, make sure no one gets missed. If somehow somebody did not get their headshot taken, see if you can take it yourself, even if it's a good selfie, so that you can include them with the rest of their class. For folks using our cool new Yearbook Plus digital feature this year, yes, students can tell their own story and their own pictures, but it's tied to their headshot in your book. So please make sure you have a portrait for every single student. Now, if you've had some sports or events canceled because of this insane situation, two thoughts. First off, students would have played that canceled sport, or they would have been involved in those canceled events like a play or a concert. Why not create a page for them anyway? Report on them, get their images, gather information, get some quotes from those students so that we can still remember that particular team or that particular event. Those events and those students are still worth remembering. And perhaps instead of just cutting pages in your book because things didn't happen, instead try reworking your page ladder a bit and do some reporting on particular topics, and there are a long list of those. For Jostens schools using our Layout Pro online tool, be sure to check out the cool Yearbook Express page templates with a long list of topics that you can use or tweak to cover various types of opinions and interests in your school. Contact your Jostens representative on where you can find these particular templates, gather that information very easily, and then make some pages that will be absolutely worth remembering forever. Now, let's talk a little bit more about page designing, and this might be the toughest part of making a yearbook. Very few students have any experience with design, so how can we expect them to make really good pages? Through basic education and lots of good ideas. Recently, we talked with one of our terrific Jostens creative accounts managers on how to get there.
Hi, I'm Tina Cleavelin. I'm a Jostens creative account manager based in Parker, Colorado. Okay, well, number one, there needs to be dominance, something on the spread, and typically that's either, one really nice large photo with a caption, or nowadays with module design, it's a dominant module. And that module might be, you might have just the killer photo that can stand alone and be that module, or maybe it's a collection of photos, but one of those photos needs to be larger. So something pulls me in, something has got to draw me into that spread and make me want to stay on it. I just worked with a couple of schools in the last couple of days, and they've got some spreads that got some great modules, but all 4 modules were the same exact size. So there's nothing that pulls me in. So basically what we did, we went through and we decided which one of these needs to be larger than the others. And that number one, dominance is huge. The second thing, and I'm seeing a lot of this is probably one of my favorite design strategies, is contrast. So contrast in size, contrast in color, contrast in The weight of a font, like Foundation Sans is one of my favorite font families. It has like 36 or 37 family members. So there's very thick versions of it. There's very thin versions of it. So just using, taking a photo, taking a headline package and creating it using different weights is going to really add that contrast. If you're looking at a module and it's got maybe 5 different photos, unless there's a very specific reason that they would be the same size, you want them to be different sizes and shapes, meaning some vertical, some horizontal, some square. And so that's a really great one. I think probably my third one that really can make a spread look very professional, and it also is just a great design thing, is spacing. So especially once, if you're using modular design, which is the trend in design, you are going to need to have space. And what that space does is it separates, it defines the modules. So if I know they're spaced out, this module is one module, it's one topic. Now I've got a little bit of a space. We call that an open rail. And now we're going into another module, and then we've got space here. Sometimes when I share that, an editor will be like, oh my gosh, but we have, we've got coverage. It really doesn't take away from the coverage. You may have the photos a little bit smaller, but it's not going to be that big of a difference, but it's going to make it look really professional. Coverage is huge. Coverage should be our most important thing, no matter whether it's pandemic or not. And if we can get the concept going, we've got some templates, then we can really work on getting those photos and quotes and stories. Learn the basics. Learn the basic guidelines, the steps for creating a spread. As an advisor, become comfortable with that. You don't have to be the best designer in the world, but understand those guidelines and then make sure that you teach everyone on staff those guidelines. Because even if specific kids are the designers or they're the ones who choose the paid servers, when kids come in and have different photos and different things that they want to add to the spread, they're going to make changes. And you want them to make those changes using those guidelines.
A big thank you to Tina for her time and expertise on good page designing. She's been at this for over 3 decades now, and her advice will help you make a better yearbook. But you only saw a small portion there. To hear the entire 45-minute interview with Tina Cleavelin on good page designing and a lot more, including hanging in this challenging year, check out our podcast at the address shown on the screen. And be sure to follow our Yearbooking Report podcast so you never miss an episode. Finally, times are tough for some folks this holiday season. You may have some kids they'd really like to get your yearbook, but they just don't have the money for that right now. What can you do? Perhaps run a promotion where a student could earn a free book by doing some type of a fundraiser. Of course, food fundraisers are always the most popular, but maybe if your school has some excess funds available, why not put together a promotion where, if a kid improves their grades or perhaps does some various projects around school, they can earn a discount on your book or even a free book. And of course, don't forget our new Yearbook Plus digital feature. This is a way to add a lot more value to your entire book effort this year. Contact your Jostens representative for information on both of these. See what you can put together before the end of this calendar year. Well, if you're watching this in November, have a happy Thanksgiving, very safely, of course. And if you're watching in December, don't let this crazy year get you down. Remember our cardinal rule of yearbooking, always make it fun. And don't forget that holiday party idea, which would be a real pick-me-up for everybody. Thanks again for watching.